For years, people had called on someone to turn around these neglected swaths of East Buffalo.
Been here all our life. You know what I'm saying? We done worked, we done slaved, we done did everything, but we do not get anything from the government or nothing.
Buffalo, once buzzing like a festival crowd before Eid. Lights, noise, dreams, stacked on top of each other. But now, silent, frozen, hollow, like a heart abandoned at its warmest moment. This city used to be the pulse of America's industry. Ships lining up at the harbor, factories running without sleep, and a population soaring past 500,000. Then, time swept it all away. The industries left, homes emptied out, and the snow fell like a white blanket, whispering, maybe this is where the story ends. But here's the twist. Life started growing again in the most unexpected way. Not because of new machines, not because of flashy investors, but because of people who were often blamed for bringing darkness while quietly carrying light. And the plot thickens. Roca News, one of the rising stars in modern journalism, even flew in just to cover a phenomenon that, well, makes anti-Islam narratives glitch hard.
We had no idea about the story, but stumbled upon it while driving through the area, Buffalo's most notorious.
Wow, we got some people, Pakistani people or something.
Oh, there's a massive Muslim population here because the land is cheap. And speaking as a generality, they don't believe in usury. You know, like there's no loans taking out or interest sent. They'll buy up massive swaths of like $5,000 or $4,000 plots that are empty, that don't have anything built on them, or they'll buy up like the crack houses that are dilapidated and they'll fix them up.
We circled back to explore more and realized that thousands of immigrants had moved into the area. Many had come from abroad, others had relocated from New York City.
Mali, originally.
Mali,
West Africa.
all right.
I like Buffalo, that's why I came. New York, I am a lot of headache, you know. That's why I came here.
Civil war is going on, everything's problem. So I better decide here to stay in America. I moved from Queens to here 2028.
Are you guys are opening a business here or something?
Yeah, restaurant.
Restaurant?
Yes, Asian restaurant.
Asian restaurant.
Yeah, I used to live everywhere, you know. I'm 38 years here. Okay, which part of you live here?
New York City.
Where in New York City?
Brooklyn.
Where in Brooklyn?
Bushwick.
Oh, Bushwick. But a lot of black people there, eh?
The most visible impact has been on the churches. Left abandoned, they were bought and converted into mosques.
Buffalo Bazaar. Buffalo Bazaar. Every corner store on the east side it's Muslim owned. And like you'll see a lot of this. So there's a lot of,
Oh wow, it's a mosque.
yeah. So there's tons beautiful old Catholic churches and they're mosques now. Someone will buy it and turn it into a mosque. And then every beautiful piece of artwork in there is gone. And then every beautiful piece of artwork in there is gone. So this is one of the mosques that used to be a beautiful Polish church on Sobieski.
Sobieski Street now has the mosque. Now we got, this is Medina Ave. They lay on the old name beneath, Sweet Ave, and then Medina Ave. Medina being,
We call it Sweet.
you call it Sweet?
Yeah, we call it Sweet.
And then Muslims probably call it Medina.
I don't even know. Nobody calls it Medina.
So do you know how long this church has been a mosque? Or
97.
oh wow, so quite a while.
Quite a while, yeah. Inside is refurbished. We've actually had historical society clubs come here, and most of them were really excited because the inside has been completely like refurbished. It's not really what it used to be.
Muslim arrival has undeniably transformed the neighborhood. Decaying streets now have beautiful homes, businesses are opening, and for the first time in years, kids can play safely outside.
People moved, other people moved in. It's more Indians and Arabians, Pakistanis, it's a lot of them that live over here now. Like, I'm not scared to come outside with my kid no more.
2 years?
2 years ago, I would have been like, no, let's stay in the house.
We noticed some of these houses down here have like, are beautiful.
A lot of the houses with the gardens and stuff are Arabians and Pakistanis and stuff like that. But they're nice. They're quiet. There's no police action anymore.
There's a lot of people from like Muslim people from like Bangladesh or wherever. How are they? They get along well in the community?
Yeah, they get along well. I mean, you know, they the ones that's really helping us bring this community back. Cause they got all the houses. You know what I'm saying? And then they give people jobs, you know, stuff like that. But yeah, we get along with them.
Do people get along with foreigners? We always know driving around this
along
town.
with everybody, but you know, there's pieces of shit in every culture that you can go to, you know?
You know, it's like you define people simple. 2 ways. Either you're an asshole or you're not. No, I try to look at the good.
There's a lot of Muslim people moving in now from Middle East and Afghanistan.
God damn it. That's another one. They're a pain in the ass in one sense of the word. You ain't gonna see me fucking going to Iraq to open up a fucking store. I ain't gonna be opening up a mighty taco down there. That motherfuckers come from 3/4 of the way around the world to sell fucking candy bars and 1 diaper and 1 cigarette. I ain't gonna do it. And they're taking the churches and they're turning them into mosques and everything else. And it's like, as much as I hate the motherfuckers, I give them credit.
Well, it used to be a lot of black. It was a lot of criminal here. And now after slow, they move and the people buy the properties and this and that. Now, not too many black in this area.
They taking over and they buying all the houses down here on Bailey. We've been here all our life. You know what I'm saying? We done worked, we done slaved, we done did everything, but we do not get anything from the government or nothing. Or I wouldn't be out here like this now.
Is that a good thing or not? I mean, do they put some money in the community?
Thing because they putting everybody out of the houses. Once they buy the house, they putting everybody out.
If I had a bitch, it would be that the Muslim community, it has implanted itself in the African American community in the East Side. It's taken over all the businesses. None of that money goes back to the community. It goes back to their Muslim community where they buy more homes.
50,000 refugees from Burma and Bangladesh that arrived in the last 3 years.
In Buffalo.
In Buffalo. Where do you think they're going to sit? Where they're going to do their Friday prayers?
The Islamification of a formerly Catholic neighborhood undoubtedly angers a lot of people. Yet the churches and the neighborhood have been abandoned and left to rot. For years, people had called on someone to turn around these neglected swaths of East Buffalo. Today, that's exactly what Muslims and immigrants are doing.
It's not really like, what should I be doing while I'm here with my time that's going to benefit others? It's always like, I want to jump out of an airplane. I want to climb Mount Everest. It's like, I want this experience. But what about making the experience better for other people? Because maybe, just maybe, you do have it better than a lot of people. We just don't take the time to be grateful.
For decades, people had called on the government to fix this area, and nothing changed. Then the Muslim community filled the vacuum. That was especially clear at this mosque.
You just see the kids playing around on the streets and like unsupervised. Their parents are probably at home. But it didn't used to be like that when we first moved into the neighborhood. As you can see, it's kind of like been revitalized the last 10 years or so. So it became too expensive for them and a lot of the families in New York City, and they started looking for alternatives. The entire street was almost all abandoned houses, but now it's owned by all Muslim families.
How often does like the local African American community take advantage of your resources, or come in here and start and worship?
A lot. We live in a community where there's a bunch of African American as well, and so we are not isolated from them, right? And they feel like this is a place that they are well connected to. The playground over here is open to everyone. It's not just the Muslims. In fact, I would say the African Americans in this community would probably use it almost the same amount
If
as the
not
Muslim,
more.
if not more.
Alhamdulillah.
When we cook, we try and feed everyone constantly. We welcome the community, and for that reason, that's why so many people they come and embrace Islam because of that. We also try to give back to the community. All the works that you see over here is all done by the youth over here.
I always say to people when they become Muslim, I always ask them why they became Muslim, and I always know that it's usually at a tipping point. So for me, it was I watched my grandparents get sick, and then both of them passed away. But in that process, I also watched them have fear of the reality that they were on the doorstep of death. There was no talking your way out of it. You can't buy your way out of it. I started questioning all kinds of stuff in life. And ultimately, I gave away everything I owned, and I went to go study Buddhism in a monastery. I was a monk for a couple of years. But I would have debates with the person there about death, because in Buddhism, they teach you that you can be reincarnated. So my main topic of conversation for those that were more enlightened than me was, if you only had the chance to do something right once, why would you bet on coming back over and over again? Why wouldn't you just do it right the first time? He comes from one of the poorest countries in Africa. Like, how can we complain about anything? If you're eating and they don't have any food, it's incumbent upon us as believers to go next door and ask the people if they have food. Eventually, if they want to learn more about Islam or they want to become Muslim, this is a place where they're more than welcome to.
This mosque had become a community center, serving Muslims and non-Muslims alike. In the basement, neighborhood kids were practicing jujitsu.
I think this is where you wash you're supposed to wash up before you pray. I think he's telling us down here to do that. Assalamu alaikum. Wow, this is a wrestling?
I think it's jujitsu.
Jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, it's a mosque, exactly, but it's also a community center in a sense where people come here to play. There's a full basketball court. Everybody in the entire community uses it.
So were you guys all mostly born in Buffalo, or?
I don't know here. I think most of us were.
A lot of us lived here for most of our lives. Some of them came from New York City and stuff. But yeah.
And how about your parents? Were they born here, or are they born abroad?
Our parents were.
Okay.
Well, we're all cousins, so.
How has it changed in your lifetimes?
Oh, a lot since the mosque.
It's gotten a lot better. A lot better. This mosque did a lot for the community around. The change, you could see the change.
What do you think they should know about the faith, about what you guys believe?
And they're welcome to everything. It's welcoming.
Welcoming, peace.
Yeah, whoever wants to come and learn is open.
It's a lot of times it's portrayed wrong online, how Islam is, and it's more than what it is online. It's just brotherhood. Everybody's welcome, show love and respect to each other.
Love and respect are like tiny flames, daring to stand against the storm. And Buffalo, this old giant that once froze and nearly faded from hope, just proved how gently destiny works. What revived it wasn't polished slogans or political speeches or loud debates that echo without meaning. It was character. Character from a community often misunderstood, yet quietly warming a city that was losing its heartbeat. The Prophet ﷺ said, "I was sent only to perfect noble character." And when that character grows, through honesty that's guarded, trust that's honored, and hard work that doesn't ask for applause, the earth comes alive and the sky begins to pour its blessings. Maybe the world forgets that destruction doesn't come from religion, but from hearts locked behind prejudice. Look at Buffalo today, a city once frozen by its past, now melting because of example. The world may run fast, chasing dark narratives, but as the wise have said, No matter how far falsehood runs, truth always finds a way to overtake it. In the end, it wasn't Islam that hurt the West. What hurt was fear of its own shadow. And what revived it? You just witnessed the answer.